chaotic day in our nation's capital for an already struggling federal government. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland was supposed to deliver her fall economic statement today.
Instead, she handed the Prime Minister her letter of resignation, with some stinging jabs against Trudeau. CTV's Mike Lakehead reports.
Chrystia Freeland says she met with the Prime Minister on Friday and was offered another cabinet position. And that meeting led to this letter. Freeland wrote, "To be effective, a minister must speak on behalf of the Prime Minister and with his full confidence. In making your decision, you made clear that I no longer credibly enjoy that confidence and possess the authority that comes with it."
Can Justin Trudeau stay at this point without a deputy prime minister?
The news was a shock to cabinet ministers as they arrived for a meeting.
Chrystia Freeland is a good friend, someone I work with very, very closely. As president of the Treasury Board and Minister of Transport, this news has hit me really hard, and I'll reserve further comment until I have time to process it.
Freeland's letter acknowledged she and the Prime Minister were at odds over how to steer the country's finances forward. Citing the upcoming tariff war with President-elect Donald Trump, Freeland said Canada has to keep its fiscal powder dry, adding, quote, "That means eschewing costly political gimmicks which we can ill afford and which make Canadians doubt that we recognize the gravity of the moment." As ministers emerged from the cabinet meeting, it was unclear if all still stood behind the Prime Minister.
The moment now is for us to focus on the best interest of Canadians. That's what we're doing.
I do, yes.
Freeland's letter and the resignation of Housing Minister Sean Fraser have renewed calls from caucus for the Prime Minister to walk away.
It's time for the Prime Minister to read the room, to listen to his colleagues, to listen to the electorate, to look at the polling that hasn't moved in a year.
Firing a Minister of Finance who has served you extremely well is not what I would call a trustworthy move.
And those calls for Trudeau to step down are even louder now from opposition benches.
Justin Trudeau has lost control, and yet he clings to power.
That sentiment echoed by the NDP, which has helped keep the minority Liberals afloat even after tearing up the supply and confidence agreement.
Justin Trudeau has to go. He has to resign. And because of that, all options are on the table. And we'll look at each vote and we'll make a decision. But now all options are on the table.
Now, Singh wouldn't say what those options are, but with just one day left on the parliamentary calendar, there are very few options to bring down this government this year. Mike Lakehead, CTV News, Ottawa.
Local MP and Cabinet Minister Patty Hajdu didn't have much to say about the situation after Freeland's shocking resignation at Parliament Hill this morning. Hajdu was not available for an interview with Dougal Media today, but reporters in Ottawa managed to get a few words with her in the hallways of the House of Commons.
I wish her all the best. Look, these are difficult and deeply personal decisions, and obviously she's made that decision, and I respect her for it.
It's now been 2 full days since Thunder Bay Police launched an investigation on the city's south side, and we still don't have any details on what prompted the heavy police presence. On Saturday, a large area on McKellar Street north off Finlayson Street, including a shed in the backyards of 2 homes, were taped off. A visible police presence is expected to remain in the area. City Police will only say their major crimes unit and forensic identification teams are involved and that there's no threat to public safety. A police spokesperson says more details will be provided when they become available.
The Lakehead Public School Board is planning to ask the Ford government to reconsider the changes made this year to student transportation eligibility.
More children are being forced to walk to school, and with winter weather arriving, board officials are seeing an alarming rise in absences among those students affected. Justin Hardy reports.
The more days that you're at school, the more that you are part of the whole school community, and students achieve better.
A transportation formula introduced by the province earlier this year saw distance eligibility requirements for school buses roughly double for most age groups when school started in September. The Lakehead Public School Board reports that at the end of September, 38% of students who lost bus eligibility with the funding change had lower attendance rates than last year. That number grew to 49% by the end of November, an alarming trend according to Board Chair Leah Vanderway.
Also with the attendance, when we look a little bit closer at the data, Some of our students that self-identify as First Nation, Métis, and Inuit, those are some of the students that are being impacted by the lack of access to transportation.
Vanderway also pointed out that Thunder Bay sees far colder temperatures than Southern Ontario, and there's even a wide gap with North Bay, which has roughly half as many days with temperatures dropping below minus 25 degrees Celsius. With average walk times of 19 minutes and above, that raises safety concerns for walking students.
When you look at some of the recommendations from the Canadian Pediatric Society and also from the Montreal Children's Hospital, children, young children especially, lose heat from their body faster than adults do. And if it's minus 27 or below, that the risk of frostbite increases dramatically.
The board will discuss the letter at Tuesday's board meeting, where the decision to send it to the province is expected to be finalized. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Thunder Bay's popular Folklore Festival, an annual event meant to celebrate all cultures, has been cancelled for next year. The 52nd annual Folk Fest was supposed to run May 3rd to 4th at Fort William Gardens and Curling Club. However, the Thunder Bay Multicultural Association has sent a letter to the event sponsors saying high costs and safety issues have impacted their plans. Organizers don't want to increase ticket prices or booth rental costs, noting it would take a heavy toll on attendance numbers. The festival's organizing committee says they'll be taking a year off and will reevaluate if they'll be able to run the event in 2026. Festival Chair Janetti Juma declined an interview today, but says she'll be ready to speak about the cancellation in the new year.
St. Joseph's Care Group has reached a major milestone in its effort to maximize its withdrawal management programs.
The site swap project involves moving the detox program from the Balmoral Center on Sibley Drive to the Crossroads Center on Oliver Road. The first stage of renovations came with a $650,000 price tag. Emmett Chilton reports.
St. Joseph's Care Group's withdrawal management program is moving to its new permanent location at 500 Oliver Road on Tuesday. The original location on Sibley Drive has been there for decades, and this marks the completion of Phase 1 of the site swap project. Phase 2 involves moving the Crossroads Pre- and Post-Treatment Center from Oliver Road to the Balmoral Center. St. Joe's Vice President of Clinical and Community Health, Andrea Docherty, says the move will be seamless to clients with no downtime or interruption to this vital service.
The big news of this is that there will be no changes to our capacity within this move. So as of tomorrow, when withdrawal management moves here, we will be maintaining the same capacity for both our pre- and post-treatment services as well as withdrawal management. And the good news is it gives us a little bit more flexibility in terms of those numbers, so that right now, with the separation at withdrawal management between the two floors, we're really unable to move people between the services to allow for flow and flexibility, but within this space, it's much safer to do so.
The importance of this move is based on the safety of clients, staff, and medical responders. The old location on Sibley Drive doesn't allow for safe intake because of spatial and building issues. With the new location, this gives everyone plenty of space to intake clients safely. With the larger building, they can now offer things such as embedded programming for Indigenous peoples, gender-appropriate washrooms, and improved quality care. Docherty says the two-phase swap allows for renovations at the Sibley location in preparation for the Crossroads Center to move into the space.
We were really fortunate with this location to have space to be able to co-locate, and what that's allowed us to do is some much needed renovations at the Sibley Drive location. So before we move our pre- and post-treatment services over there, there'll be renovations to that space. We have lots of input from partners and clients and staff and physicians to help make that space as safe as possible for everybody. And then once that move happens, then we'll be able to provide an additional service here at this location, and that is some safe sobering beds.
Emma Chilton, TBT News.
The federal government implemented its sales tax exemptions this past Saturday for certain items until February 15th.
For consumers, it's a welcome cost savings during the holiday season. However, for many Thunder Bay businesses, the implementation has led to plenty of headaches. Brendan Miller has more.
Despite there being a wide range of items exempt from taxes, Chris Sauer, the owner of Memorial Home Hardware, doesn't have nearly as many items on the list as he first thought. In addition, there were some unforeseen consequences in implementing the tax exemptions on select items.
My point of sale service provider charged a fee of $900 to make the necessary changes in the system. Given them a hardware store, it's a limited number of SKUs. It was about 150 SKUs. I'm not sure my customers are going to save the $900 that it costs to implement these changes, and that's $900 plus HST. There was no savings there. We do have some pop. We do have candy at the till. We do have an M&M's meat shop, of which only 3 additional items are tax exempt. And we do have a limited selection of children's toys.
President of the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce, Charlotte Robinson, has heard frustrations of business owners and believes information should have been presented with more clarity.
I heard a lot of frustrations. I had a number of calls of folks saying, we're not sure if we're doing it right. Who can we call? And just feeling a little bit let down on the information that was provided to them to be able to do it properly. Well, I think what should happen, all governments, before they make an announcement, should actually put together exactly what they're announcing, so that when they roll out an announcement, they actually have the full information in the time that's available. So we had 3 weeks notice, but people didn't actually have the information they need until the last few days.
Despite all of the confusion, the plan is in place. The GST exemptions mainly impact children's toys, video games, books and magazines, some alcohol products, food and restaurant meals. Anyone charged tax on an item they believe should be exempt should request a refund from the supplier or retailer. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
Last week's big snowfall made for a lot of happy cross-country skiers at the Camview Nordic Center this weekend.
Most trails are now opened and plenty of skiers are taking advantage of it. Emma Chilton has more.
The cross-country ski season has officially begun, and with the abundance of snow this year, last season's late start due to lack of snow feels like a distant memory. Dave Suddy, general manager of Camview Nordic Center, says he's hoping the ski trails will hold up despite the warm weather and rain. Meanwhile, local skiers are enjoying the trails and brimming with excitement.
I am super relieved that we have snow. I was really excited when we got that big dump last week and excited to have such good conditions this early in the year. I'm hoping that today's warm temperatures won't lose too much snow. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season and super happy to be on skis this early. Yeah.
Last Christmas it rained. We're skiing now 10 days before Christmas, and the conditions are great for early skiing.
Oh, the early skiing is beautiful. Have we ever been out this early? And the conditions are wonderful. They're wonderful.
Out of 30 kilometers of trails, 20 kilometers are open and groomed. The Cozy Chalet offers a comfortable place to warm up, enjoy a snack or hot beverage, including delicious homemade soups, classic Camview chili, and their famous Camview cookies. Emma Chilton, TBT News.
The group of immigrants from India who are part of the St. Mary's Malankara Orthodox congregation were traveling around Thunder Bay this weekend singing Christmas carols. With nearly 50 houses registered, the carolers were spreading Christmas joy across the community on Saturday and Sunday, and they'll be back at it again this coming Saturday. They sing carols in both English and Malayalam. Congregation Treasurer Sharon Jacobs says it's a great opportunity for the church and the community to come together to celebrate the holidays through carols.
Now this is our first caroling service this year, so we're very excited and happy to go around houses, and we're very happy for this opportunity people have given us to go around and sing carol songs and bring the joy of Christmas to them.
And our main aim is to bring the communities together in the spirit of Christmas. Yesterday was our first day, and we covered almost 15 to 16 houses yesterday. So we went to almost 5 Canadian houses, and they all are so welcoming. Yeah, and they are all they are so excited also, and the power of the team was awesome. So their energy is full throughout the caroling.
Along with the carols, each registered home was also gifted with a memento and Christmas card as a thank you for being part of the caroling tour. The group plans to make this an annual event and are looking forward to next year's caroling season.